Christian. That's why I speak specifically a lot to Black Christians. And, I remember at 5 years old, I was homeschooled. And 5, 6 years old, I remember I literally learned how to write Psalms chapter 1. Blessed is the man who does not walk in the way of the wicked, does not stand in the way of sinners, sit in the seat of mockers, but he delights in the law of the Lord. And in that law, he meditates day and night. I remember writing that out and learning how to read that at a very young age. Like, that's what I was homeschooled, learning how to read, learning how to write, was, these biblical principles and Proverbs, Psalms, things like that. So, when it comes to confession and repenting, being baptized, being faithful, whatever a Christian wants to call being a Christian, I've done those things. Even living faithfully, living with the faith of, the unseen, but moving forward daily, living by that faith, doing that. And that's how I see the world, basically. I see the whole world through this tint of, if you're driving in your car and you have the windows are tinted and you looking out the windows through the tint, everything's a little tinted no matter how sunny it is outside. That's basically how I see the world, is through that tint of Christianity. That tint of what I was raised in, raised to be, raised around, raised knowing that understanding. But at the same time, I'm also very aware and was also raised in the understanding of being a Black American. And those two identities don't have to be oppositional to one another. Those two identities don't have to be oppositional. They don't have to be in conflict. They really are supposed to complement one another. The whole idea of Christianity, isn't like, oh, now I'm a Christian, so forget being Black, forget this beautiful brown skin I have. The whole idea is, I'm a Christian. I'm representing the Spirit of Christ in the body that He's given me. I'm not in the body of Christ. I'm in the body of myself, Stanley. I'm in the body of Stanley right now. But as a Christian, I'm wanting to be whatever Christ is supposed to be in this position that I'm in now. Whatever Christ's spirit would be with who Stanley is. Stanley being a man, Stanley being a Black man, Stanley being an American, Stanley being from California, Stanley being, a sibling, a brother, a son. What does that spirit of Christ look like with who I am and with what I do in life? So there's no separating being a Black person in this day and time. Like, the whole conversation on the news every day is about us. And I'm not saying that in a conceited way, because it's not normally good stuff. It's a lot of times it's bad stuff. But when you just look at, sometimes I'm looking at the entertainment and I'm like, it's all us. It's literally, if you look at the media and the sports, and a lot of the majority of the sports and athletics, but even when you watching the news, a lot of the conversation, a lot of what the politics are being discussed, what they're talking about is, what are they going to do with this group of people? What are they going to do with Black people? As far as what they're wanting, what their demands are, keeping everything in order, keeping everything in line, keeping everything as it should be. The conversations, deals with us a lot. The conversation deals with us a lot. So you can't be a Christian and say, I'm going to dedicate my life to Christ. I'm going to dedicate my life to Christ, but then ignore who I am as this Black American individual under the spotlight of the world. Figure out, what does Christ's spirit look like in a Black 34-year-old female, Black 34-year-old mom, a Black, 72-year-old man, Black 10-year-old child. Like, what is that? What does it mean in my time and environment? If we lived in, say 1200, 1300, our responsibility as a Christian would be different in that time. Christianity isn't one way for all times. It's a spirit you tap into. It's a spirit of, love, a spirit of, what's that verse? There's a verse, God did not give us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, sound mind, and love. So there's not a there's no fear. There's no fear. The spirit that you have from God is a spirit where it's like it's powerful, it's sound mind, it's wisdom and understanding of what our situation is, and of love. It's not just love. There was also power and sound mind with that, and that's something I want Black American Christians to understand is the aspect of that. That spirit of God, that claiming to be a Christian, that spirit of Christianity is supposed to also give you power now. It's not just about waiting until later. Oh, Christ is going to come back later. Right now, he's giving you a spirit of power. And right now, he wants you to be the light in this life right now as whoever he, fearfully and wonderfully made you. The Bible says you're fearfully and wonderfully made. If you're fearfully and wonderfully made as a brown woman, brown man, be that. If you're fearfully and wonderfully made in a current circumstance, be that in that circumstance. And for us as Black Americans, we have to own being Black. You cannot shy away from being Black. I hear so many preachers talking, so many, not just preachers, but just individuals in Christianity who will speak about, you're Christian first and then you're Black. And it doesn't work like that. You're exactly who God made you. You're exactly who God made you. If God made you as a brown individual, a person of African descent, God made you a person, with melanin in your system. If God made you that person, you're fearfully and wonderfully made as that person. Now, when you come into this life full of lies and full of confusion, you're doing your best to be who God fearfully and wonderfully made you to be. Own that, love that, self-love, be proud of that. And only in owning that can you actually be whatever it is that Christ is wanting you to be. You can't even be a Christian and then disown who God created you to be or created you to be, because he created you to be who you are because he gave you the skill sets for your situations, for who you are going to be in life. But you have to own that. Don't shy away from it. Don't shy away from being Black. Don't shy away from your culture. Don't shy away from your history. Know your history. Understand your history. They go hand in hand. Then that gives a whole new meaning to what it means to be a child of God. It gives a whole new meaning to what it means to be, a Christian or to have the Spirit of God living within you. What does that mean? If the Spirit of God is living in you, how do you deal with, other people in the world? How do you deal with the injustice that's happening to a specific group in the world? How do you deal with those things? All of that takes a different meaning as you understand it. You're fearfully and wonderfully made, all of us. Black Christians, we don't have to be timid or fearful. As I said, God not give us a spirit of fear. We have to own that. We have to own getting rid of fear of speaking the truth, getting rid of fear of standing up for what's right, and not being afraid of living our lives in a way that's going to be countercultural. If you're a Black Christian, you already should be in that mindset as a Christian that you're going to be countercultural. That should already be in your mind as a Christian. So as a Black Christian, it shouldn't be nothing to be like, look, I'm going to stand up for justice for my people. You got to own that. It's no one else is going to own it for you. No one else is going to stand up for you. And unfortunately, it's not like Christianity is an organization that's going to say, you know what, us as all Christians, no matter what race, we're going to help this community of people. That's not going to happen. It's going to be our own community that helps our own community, Christian or not. That's just the reality of it. All right. So Black Christians, we have to be about ours, being about, own Christ, rep Christ, but rep that spirit of power that comes with being a Christian, which is making a change in the circumstances that we're seeing in the world right now in 2018. Okay. All right. We want to get to 60 subscribers by the end of 2018. Right now it's the first week of December, so we got, a few more weeks to get there. And 60 is a good number. I want to just speak that out there right now. I don't want more than 60 because I don't want it to grow too big. I want to get just a foundation, just a good core group foundational. and we'll keep dealing with, you know, these topics and lessons like these topics. But remember, Black Christians, you're fearfully, wonderfully made as a Black person, as a brown person, with the history we have, with the pain we have, the hurt we have, all of those things. You're fearfully and wonderfully made, and you have to own that and represent Christ in this circumstance of being Black in the world today. What does that look like? That's the question you got to think about. All right. Blessings to everybody. Let your friends know about this page. Subscribe to the page. Let them know to subscribe as well. All right. Blessings.